Looking at art.
A very formal room. An African American artist named Horace Pippin painted Victorian interior. He taught himself and never went to art school. His paintings, like the quilts, belong to a category of art called folk art. Folk art is the art of everyday life, created by people who did not study art in school. Pippin liked to say, "My heart tells my mind what to draw." Victorian interior. This painting does not seem to have a lot of depth. It looks quite flat. Its design is not exactly symmetrical, but it does have balance. The shapes on one side are similar in size to the shapes on the other. Pippin made many design decisions as he used lines and colours. What makes the rug look so lively and bright? Is it made of complementary colours? Are there more straight or curved lines in the room? How many circles and ovals? How many rectangles and squares? How many shapes are painted red? Notice how the delicate lines of the white lace doilies break up the heavy solid furniture. Picturing an idea. The Quakers came to America looking for a religious freedom. They settled in Pennsylvania and hoped to live in peace. Let's look at a painting by a Quaker artist named Edward Hicks. In this painting, he was trying to express a very important idea from the Bible. But before we talk about the idea, let's look carefully at the painting. Do you see anything unusual? All those animals together in one place. What about the little children with the animals? And who are the people in the background? This painting is called The Peaceable Kingdom. The artist was probably remembering these lines from the Bible as he designed it. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling, or young fattened animal, together, and a little child shall lead them. These lines describe a perfect world of peace, which is what the Quakers hoped their new home in America would be. How does the painting express this idea of a peaceful world? This painting is very three-dimensional. Hicks painted two scenes in one painting. The children and the animals are painted in the foreground. We can see each shape clearly because of the way Hicks placed dark shapes next to light ones. The Native Americans and the Quakers are painted in the background, much smaller to show that they are far away. None of them are looking out from the painting. They just look at each other, busy with their meeting. What do you think they are saying to each other? What do you think the foreground scene has to do with the background scene? Are they both about living in peace? Edward Hicks thought living in peace was so important that he created more than 50 paintings to convey that idea. Can you feel it? What is your first reaction when you look at this painting created by the Norwegian artist Edvard Munch? Most people look first at the face of the figure in the foreground. Many people find the wavy lines and the colours in the background strange. Did you expect a red sky? The artist called this painting the Scream. Munich explains that one day he was walking with some friends when suddenly all of nature seemed to cry out. He put his hands to his ears to close out the scream. Munch belonged to a group of artists called Expressionists. Expressionist artists tried to show their innermost feelings in their art. Munch had a lot of sadness in his life. Can you see it expressed in his work? Look at the pale hands and skull-like head of the central figure. How would you describe his expression? Fear? Terror? Surprise? His body seems unable to bear the emotion. It seems wavy, as though it might collapse. Only the bridge seems straight and solid in the midst of all that is swirling around. We see these contrasts because of decisions the artist made in his design. A quilt that tells a story. Faith Ringgold, an African-American artist, makes quilts that tell stories. This one, called Tar Beach, was made in 1988. It tells a story of a girl named Cassie Lightfoot who lay on the tar-covered rooftop of her building, her tar beach. And imagine yourself flying over the city. Do you see Cassie lying on the rooftop? Do you see Cassie flying? If you read The People Could Fly, then you would know another story in which flying refers to the feeling of being free. This quilt may seem more complicated than others, but Faith Ringgold used the same process of cutting pieces of cloth and stitching them together. She created a frame of fabric squares all around the quilt. There are other frames in the quilt's design as well. One is formed by the lines and colours that outline the rooftop. Another is formed by the coloured fabric on which Cassie and her brother are laying. Ringgold also sewed in 10 fabric blocks, 5 at the top and 5 at the bottom, with words that tell Cassie's story. These blocks are stitched in between bright print fabric squares and rectangles.